we've got AOA General on the top half of the map versus Anju on the bottom left. AOA is going to be playing GAI and Anju will be playing Nod. I've only seen this map played once earlier in the tournament, and it's a kind of interesting map where you may want to actually expand out to the sides of the map just to kind of secure some of that additional Tiberium. But both players are going to get their scouting units just to stick around a little bit. They're not actually using them to scout. And if you guys just give me 1 second to change something here. I'm going to get some background music going. Sorry guys. There we go, that's better. So, typical starts, both players are going to get their refineries out. There's also a defense being built by OA General. Let's pull up the production tab, see what they're both doing. First refinery is coming out for AOA. Anju's actually opting for an early airfield, which is kind of interesting. He wants to get some early Nod forces in, but that's understandable. They've got the really good early game units in this. So that Humvee of AOA is finally going to start doing some scouting here. It's going to pull over on the right side of the map, just kind of uncover everything here. Just throw a shroud so you can see what's been explored. We've got one scout unit in the middle. Andrew has yet to actually move his scout unit off. And sorry, I've just got report Twitch. No, Twitch should be online. Okay. Sorry, I just read Penno's message, but I think that was a few minutes ago. So refinery's out. AOA is going to be building his... With these hotkeys, AOA is going to be building his warcraft, or his... another ore refinery, or Tiberium refinery. Man, this is sloppy cast. Andrew's getting another power plant out, and he's actually building another Tiberium harvester as well. AOA's finally building a war factory, or weapons factory as they call it in Tiberian Dawn. AOA doing a little bit more scouting with his Humvee. You could probably send it to a little bit more places at this point in time. Otherwise, he's just not doing too much with that unit. So the first harvester comes out for Andrew. Meanwhile, AOA is still working on that weapons factory. His scouting unit is still staying in base because obviously he wants to be able to take on any scouting units that come near him. This Humvee is going to be quick to spot Andrew's base, but he's just going to play it safe. He knows where he is. Oh, sorry. Looks like the buggy sees the Humvee and they're getting a little bit of movement. The rocket soldier's going to take it out, and that is a casualty where Andrew picks up the kill and also picks up a recon bike and another Tiberium harvester at this point in time. Meanwhile, AOA is just getting up his first weapons factory. He's probably going to be going for some early game units, I imagine, here. Let's pull open the production tab. Now, what is he building? He's building yet another refinery. Interesting. He is indeed actually going for some Humvees as well. Andrew's building yet another Tiberium harvester. Such a mouthful. And that he will also be picking up a communication center, which is going to give him that airstrike. Both players also have guard towers ready, just in case anything happens on the other end. So 3 Humvees built by AOA versus this 1 recon bike. Looks like Andrew built the 1 recon just to kind of do a little bit of scouting while he works on his economy a bit. But these 3 Humvees as well, they could definitely cause a little bit of trouble if they come anywhere near Andrew's base. But Andrew's actually going to start harassing this harvester, and these Humvees are going to start chasing this recon bike down. But the recon's going to be a little bit too quick for it. It's going to probably get away. Oh, it's coming close. They actually take it down, to my surprise. That is a casualty for Andrew. So that's probably 1 kill apiece here now. Andrew builds a light tank. Meanwhile, AOA, he's probably still working on some light units in that war factory. He picks up another Humvee. He's got about 6 Humvees now, taking a middle. AOA, he's pretty well known for his early game tactics, so I'm quite interested to see what he's going to do with all these Humvees. That's quite a lot of harassment if you take it into the enemy base, but Andrew's actually got about 7 rocket soldiers and 7 riflemen. He's actually building a couple flamethrowers as well. So this buggy is going to do a little bit of scouting. These Humvees are coming in on the right hand side. He thinks he just wants to strike, see what he can get out of this engagement. You can always pull out with these Humvees as well if it gets a little bit risky. Andrew, I don't know if he's actually anticipating this or if he's a fan of the infantry units. He's picking up some light tanks, but that's going to be an issue if AOA decides to come in, because those light tanks will just shred apart those Humvees. He's going to send this Nod buggy up as well to do a little bit of scouting. He's going to find the Tiberium refineries, and those rocket soldiers are going to take him up before he can actually do any good here. Humvees are going to back off. They've done the scouting they need to do, although AOA gets his first MCV out. And he's going to probably build up to the side expansion here where some of the blue Tiberium comes out. I'd actually be quite interested if he expands a little bit further down here, or even, you know, right here or even right here, but I think he's probably going for this safe blue patch because it's pretty close to his main base. I believe that's what he's going for. Meanwhile, Andrew, let's check the production tab. He's got a Hand Nod and also a Chinook. The Chinook is full of people. I think that holds about 10 in Tiberian Dawn here. So let's check the production tab yet again. Another airstrip coming off for Andrew, and AOA starting to build some medium tanks. Airstrike for AOA is also coming up pretty quick here, as well as Andrew within a minute or so. Let's follow the Chinook to see what happens. AOA's getting his construction yard up, but let's be fast here. There's some Humvees mid. This might cause a little bit of pressure. It might be a little bit of a distraction. You know, if he's busy with these Humvees doing some scouting here. You know, they've just pretty well scouted the entire map these players collected here. So this Chinook's coming in, but I don't know if he's actually going to see anything. He can actually do some pretty good damage with this Chinook. AOA does not see this. This is going to be devastating. AOA has a ton of units on the bottom. He's got 4 medium tanks and 4 Humvees, but this damage is absurd. That that communication center just shredded. He takes out the power plant. These infantry are coming, but they're going to get taken out by all the flamethrowers here. Oh, another power plant scout. This is huge. Low power for AOA. He's actually going to take his units back. This is probably the right thing to do. I don't know if he could have gone in with all his rocket infantry there in the way. He gets the medium tanks back in time. He gets the Humvees back in time, but he loses communication center as well as 2 power plants. Ouch! And then the A-10 strike comes in, cleans out a little bit more infantry and that final power plant. So that was a pretty decent trade for a Chinook and a handful of infantry. Now he's got 6 light tanks. He might be interested in keeping this pressure up. He can defend his base with this collection of infantry that he has, so I don't know if he's actually pressured at all to make any sort of aggressive move here with these infantry. He can just sit back here, I think he can pick apart these Humvees. Meanwhile, there's still 6 light tanks up there. Check the production tab yet again. Hand Nod's going to be coming on for Andrew, but before that, it looks like the advanced communication center for AOA General is going to come up as well. So that's going to give him an ion cannon shortly. So the light tanks are coming back to base to kind of fend off this attack from AOA. AOA is sending his medium tanks in there. He wants to try to squish some of them. He's not quite sure what he's focusing on, but he's trying to take out all those rocket infantry by the seams of it. He's doing a little bit of damage, but he's losing vehicles faster. He's not going to win this engagement by losing it. He doesn't lose it. So Andrew actually gets to hold off all of his buildings. They're able to survive. Wow, that's some big losses for AOA. However, he's got three APCs and he's filling these up. I think he's a little bit inspired by Andrew's tactic here, or perhaps it is an AOA tactic to start filling these APCs. He's a little bit behind in his base, but he does have the double expansion. He can catch up. He might actually be safe building his communication center out in the open, but I don't know if... Oh, you know what? If Andrew finds this could be devastating. He's got nothing to defend this unless he gets those APCs down and out. These light tanks, they are so close. They do not see it. They don't see it. Oh, but you know what? AOA sees him. So he's scouting. He's going to go in. He sees the Harvester. He's actually going for the Harvester. He's probably going to take a couple hits here on this thing. He's one of his light tanks. And he's going to probably move around a bit, but not too fast here. Or hide. Yeah, longbow comes in to give support, but this longbow is going to be taken up by some rocket infantry. He's not careful. These light tanks, though, they're not going to last very long. The turret comes up. There's also a couple rocket soldiers and a medium tank there. You better back off. Wow. I'll give props to AOA for staying in after losing 3 power plants like that. And yes, I'm really apologizing for mixing a lot of red alert terms up with Tiberian Dawn. On the other side of the map, the other left side, it's a really aggressive placement for Temple of Nod. APCs are coming in. They're scouting this expansion, but a ton of rifle infantry are coming out. Actually doing some decent damage to this construction here. Does Andrew even have a defense ready to defend this or any sort of units? Looks like he's sending a couple light tanks, but that's not really going to do a lot of some rifle infantry. He might be able to squish some of them, but he's probably just going to be able to take out... Oh, he gets some squishes. He gets 4 units with 1 tank. That actually does a really good job. Meanwhile, stealth tank as well coming up from there. It's going to intercept this ABC. On the other side of the map, we've got 2 Humvees and a medium tank, so they're chasing down this last light tank and Apache. These units are playing a little bit of careful micro. They don't want to die, but they're doing a little bit of damage. That Apache is going to go down to that APC. Looks like AOE's actually recovered quite nicely. He's got a really good cover sorry, he's got a really good control over the center of this map, despite losing part of his base a little while ago here. Andrew's got to perhaps catch up a little bit. He's only got a few light tanks and that stealth tank, but that's not really going to do a whole lot against this mixed-up army of AoE general. We might actually be close to an ion cannon as well for Andrew, which would stop this type of push. Oh, sorry, he's not. If he's not, he gets a nuke. He's nowhere close to that. Medium tanks coming in. Close enough. They're going to take out these light tanks. Rocket infantry as well, focusing the light tanks. Medium tanks trying to move in, squish as much as you can. Try to squish these rocket infantry as well. Keep focusing on these light tanks. Light tanks, however, it looks like Andrew might actually pull ahead on this engagement for now until these infantry arrive. He's got a couple stealth tanks and a couple chem troopers here as well. Chem troopers are actually pretty good against just about everything. So he's got to use those chem troopers trying to take out some of these rocket infantry. If he can actually get close, these rocket infantry are doing a decent amount of damage. But the chem troopers, they come up, a couple of them better, and they are leveling up like crazy. Viceroy also spawns. It's not attacking anything. No, it is actually attacking. It's actually attacking AoE General. Now, AoE has lost some units there, but he's not out for sure. He's still got four medium tanks. He's doing a pretty good job. Four to space 3 down here. Andrew builds yet another Apache. He's got up to 4 stealth tanks now. Light tanks. Pretty small army by comparison to AoE, I feel. Oh, this is getting serious. AoE's keeping the pressure on. Andrew does see this though. Oh my god, this is this force fire. He revealed himself. I don't think he meant to do that. Perhaps he's just letting AoE know that I'm here, don't come in. You know, if AoE sees those 6 stealth tanks, he might actually reconsider this. You know, I think that's actually what's happening. Perhaps until these light tanks, or sorry, until these rocket soldiers and rifle infantry show up. There's an A-10 Warhead strike coming in as well. So it's going to do a little bit of damage, but really not a whole lot. Oh, you know, it's actually going to take those defenses pretty good. This stealth tank rush is doing some decent work. Takes out those 2 defenses with the help of the A-10. He's going to back away because he needs to send these stealth tanks. And this A-10 from AoE is going to take a little, not a whole lot, but he needs help over on this side of the map. He's got to send those stealth tanks in to do something. He can probably go for a bait trade if he does wish, but I just got to get a message to the back of his position. Too bad, sir. We have a GG call from AoE. Is that it, really? I don't believe it. Alright, I'm gonna save that music for now, guys. Wow. Stealth Tank's just hanging out. They're doing a little bit of talking. It looks like AoE might be in a little bit of a bad position. Andrew's doing quite well here. That nuke's going to be up very shortly.
Launched.
That nuke's actually up right now. AoE knows where this is going to land, so he moves that MCV. That nuke's coming in. It's going to take out that refinery as well as 2 power plants. Almost destroys the refinery. Moves that power plant just, or moves the construction yard just a little bit. These 5 stealth tanks are still just chilling here. He's got 3 more coming up here with these light tanks. He's got another, it looks like he's alternating between the light tank and the stealth tank on those 2 airfields. Sending them up to the top half of the base here, which seems relatively unguarded. AoE's trying to amass some infantry, which is some cheap forces, to be quite honest. Probably the most cost-effective thing you can do after you get hit with a blow like that. Stealth tank's gonna actually work on the power plant. Take out these guys like nothing. They can go and take out the power plant, back away from these rifle infantry like nothing happened. You know, they could probably take out that refinery too if they're really interested. The infantry do detect stealth tanks if they're within 1 cell, so gotta get a little bit away from those infantry with those stealth tanks. Meanwhile, we still got these light tanks and stealth tanks being produced by Andrew. AoE, he's doing his best. He's producing as many light infantry as he can to be any sort of deterrent to these light armored tanks, which is probably one of the best things he could do at this point in time. I don't know if medium tanks are going to be a whole lot different for him at this point in time. Oil Derrick taken over by OE General is now destroyed. Stealth Tank's working on this turret. They're gonna go take out this weapons factory. He brings them down to just one. Oh, AOA looks like he just called GG, and that's game. That's a victory for Team Carrillo. That's a victory for Team Carrillo. That actually brings us up to 24-24. That's awesome. First time we've actually had an even score. From my knowledge, anyways. Wow, GG. I thought AOA actually had it there for a second. He had a lot of vehicles just populating this half of the map. Wow. Alright, well let's hop out of the lobby here. Let's get another one going.
Battle control terminated.